So this is just a really small video on strengthening and looking after the rotator cuff in the shoulders. A lot of people get a lot of injuries in their rotator cuffs. So anything that we're doing here, we're just not bringing our arms above the head. That can obviously aggravate the rotator cuff. So everything we're doing is really just low with the arms. But these exercises are going to be really good to strengthen the rotator cuff and release it as well. So we're going to use a resistance band for some of these exercises. This is a really light resistance band. You can always get some stronger ones. And let's start with our first exercise. So you could always do this one with weights as well, and you could also do it without any resistance, especially if you're feeling like the rotator cuff is really aggravated and you just want to take it a little bit easier. And you're more than welcome to do these kind of timing yourself, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, or maybe it's 8 repetitions, 16 repetitions, having a rest in between each set and doing those around kind of 3 times through. So let's start with our feet about hip width apart. We're going to pull the belly button in, lift the muscles of the pelvic floor, a little bit of a bend into the knees. We're going to hold on to our resistance band, and as if you're holding on to a tray or 2 plates of food, the elbows are going to be tucked into your sides, shoulder blades sliding down the back. So imagine you've got nice big earrings in and there's some space between the ears and your shoulders. We're going to hold on to the band. One hand is going to be an anchor, so we're going to stabilize and anchor the band in place, and one hand is going to be moving outwards. We want to keep the palms up and again, imagine you're holding onto the tray. So we're just pulling out slightly to the side. Again, try not to move the elbow away, the elbow stays tucked in, just going to where you can, and then bringing the arm back in. The other hand is going to stay nice and neutral, so you're still working that arm, but it's going to stay in a nice neutral place. And again, a slight bend into the knees, pulling outwards, and then bringing everything back in. So it doesn't have to be a really big range of movement here. So again, I'm just going to do roughly 8 repetitions, and then I'm going to switch sides, and we're going to do that twice through. So again, you could always hold on to weights instead of using a resistance band. You could hold on to some light weights and move out and in and find your way to that resistance with some weights. Or again, maybe no weights at all and just focusing on the range of movement. So already starting to feel this. And we'll just do one more. I think that's roughly around 8 repetitions. Always hard to count when I'm talking as well. And let's switch sides. So again, we're finding this position. The arm that we just moved is now going to be anchored in place, and we're going to move out to the side, finding again this movement of keeping the elbow slightly tucked in and then moving everything away from the center line. Again, you should feel it almost immediately, especially if you've got that resistance. If it does feel a little bit too strong, you might start with a little bit of slack in the band and then pull out from there. You might feel the arm that you've already worked, because again, it's still working, anchoring the position. So you might still feel that working for you as well. So I think we're going to roughly go for around 3 more. Still engaging through the core. And then you might just want to give the shoulders a little bit of shake out, a little bit of a roll out. And you might do that, have a rest in between. Maybe you're doing it 1 or 2 more times through, depending on how you're feeling. Let's go to our next exercise, and this time we're going to have the resistance band onto the floor. Again, you could use a light weight as well for this one, but we're going to anchor the resistance band underneath your feet and a slight bend into the knees. Again, you might have a little bit of slack in the band if you're wanting an easier resistance, or you're going to start with a little bit of resistance so the band is a little bit taut here. The palm is going to face down, slight bend into the elbow so we're not locking out too much through the joint, and we're just lifting up and out. So we're not focusing on a really big movement, bringing the arm up, but just moving out to the side. And I want you to get the sensation of not actively lifting the arm, but just moving the arm out to the side and then bringing it back in. And again, this adds a little bit of resistance, so moving out and away and then coming back in. A slight bend into the elbow, not too kind of bent, but a slight bend so we're not locked out through the joint. And again, the palm is facing down. We've still got this strong foundation through the core, slight bend into the knees. And again, I'm going to do roughly 8 repetitions on each side. And then again, you might repeat that 2 or 3 more times through, depending on how you're feeling. It might be that 8 is enough, and you're just going to build on that each day, doing this for, every day, until you feel like you can maybe repeat it twice or 3 times through. I absolutely do not know where the count is. I've been talking, so I'm going to do roughly 3 or 4 more just for luck, and you can always have more focus and concentrate on counting your repetitions. Nice sturdy wrists here as well, so nothing is kind of leading too much with the wrists, but everything is in a nice long line. Do 1 more. And then again, we're going to switch sides. So we're going to unhook the band underneath the feet, bring it around to the other side, finding again the band anchored underneath your feet, slight bend into the knees, keep the tummy muscles, shoulder blades relaxed. And again, try not to focus on lifting the arm, like really take the element of lifting the arm out of it, and really just focusing on moving the arm out to the side. And obviously you've got that resistance in the resistance band, which this is a really easy resistance band, and I'm feeling this one. So again, it doesn't need to be a really tough resistance to actually feel the work. And if you're engaging through the core and you're focusing again on using the muscles rather than just kind of flinging the arm or using a little bit of momentum, then you're going to feel all of the shoulder muscles work here. So again, just breathing through, core is nicely engaged. I'm going to do 3 or 4 more. Again, activating and engaging the whole time, so you're nice and stabilized. Breathing in and breathing out. And then again, we'll shake everything out. We'll just come back to that first exercise again, where again, we're holding onto the band and we've got our elbows closed in. This time we're going to do both arms. So again, just 8 repetitions. Both arms moving out to the side and then coming back in towards each other. So it doesn't need to be a really big movement here. You're not leading with the hands, but everything stays in a neutral position. The elbows stay tucked in towards your side. And we're just pulling out and in. Breathing through. Going to do 3 more. And then we can just release that resistance band down to the side. And we're going to come down to lie on your front for your next exercise, which is really going to release the back and activate some different muscles. So from here, we're going to lie down onto our front, just relax the legs. And we're bringing ourselves up onto the elbows, so into a sphinx position here. We're going to activate through the core and bring everything right from the core for this one. So feel free to have a look several times and then have a go, so you're not trying to do it while looking at what I'm doing. So let's just come into this rounded position where the chin is tucked in and the head is collapsing down. And I want you to start to pull your belly button towards the spine, lifting everything away from the floor, right from the belly button, up the upper abdominals, the ribs. Now as you do that, feel the elbows gently pressing down into the floor, shoulder blades sliding down the back and activating, and then we're lifting the head to take your gaze just slightly out ahead of you. And then we're bringing everything back down so we can start to relax a little bit more and allow everything to come back to that start position. So again, we scoop the tummy muscles, we're gradually lifting up and away, so the upper abdominals, the ribs start to lift. We gently press the elbows in and we find this lift right from the crown of the head. So again, it may not feel like much, it may not look like much, but you should feel those shoulders and the back muscles really working here. Scooping everything up, coming right from the core. So rather than just lifting the head, we're coming right from above the belly button, or right from the belly button really, and then everything grounds down into the elbows, shoulders, slide down the back, and the last thing is that head coming up and finding the length. So we're scooping through the tummy muscles, allowing everything just to lift and lengthen, and then softening everything down. I'm going to do roughly 4 more of these. And again, you can always bring yourself out of this one and just roll through the shoulders. And again, you might do that whole sequence twice through, 3 times through, building it up. But a really nice one for the shoulders, especially if you suffer from anything with any injuries in the rotator cuff and you're building up the strength there. And again, it's all low in the arms and all works right into the back of the shoulders and into the shoulders.